I never thought the fire alarm would trap me in the library with the one person I had been trying to avoid for years. Life has a sick sense of humor because out of all the people in the world, it had to be him. The echo of the heavy doors locking behind us still rang in my ears. The staff had rushed out in panic when the alarm went off. But somehow, in the chaos, the two of us stayed behind. When we tried to leave, every exit was sealed tight, and the emergency number they gave us went unanswered. So there we were, me, the boy who had once been my best friend, and hours of silence stretching into the night. "Guess we're stuck here," he said with a half-smile, his voice deeper now than it had been back in high school. I hated how much it still made something twist inside my chest. I shrugged, trying to look unfazed as I dropped my backpack onto one of the study tables. "Yeah, well, there are worse places to be trapped. At least there's Wi-Fi." He laughed, and it was almost unbearable. That sound used to mean safety to me. Now it felt like a sharp reminder of everything we'd lost. Ethan Parker. He had been my shadow, my partner in every reckless teenage plan. My late-night phone calls, my first almost kiss at 16 that I never dared to talk about again. And then sophomore year happened. Secrets, rumors, and one stupid fight that ripped us apart. We hadn't spoken in years. Not really. Just passing nods across campus. The kind that made my stomach knot. Now fate had locked us together between rows of forgotten books, and I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. He wandered toward the shelves, running his fingers over spines like they were familiar friends. His denim jacket caught the dim light, and his profile looked older, sharper, like he'd grown into the kind of man who no longer belonged to my past but to some life I was no longer part of. "Still obsessed with history?" I asked, more sharply than I intended. My voice bounced off the walls, breaking the silence like glass. He glanced back at me, grinning faintly. "You remembered." Of course I remembered. I remembered everything. The way he used to ramble about wars and forgotten heroes until I fell asleep beside him. The way his notebooks were filled with doodles of maps. The way his eyes lit up when he talked about the past. Like he secretly wished he'd been born in another century. I forced a laugh, bitter at the edges. "Hard to forget when you used to give me lectures during lunch." Instead of bristling, Ethan walked closer, stopping just across the table from me. His gaze lingered. Too long. Too direct. "I didn't think you'd still remember me at all." Something cracked in the air between us. My chest tightened, but I swallowed the ache. "Hard to forget someone who used to be your best friend," I said quietly, then regretted it immediately. His smile faltered. He didn't look away. "Used to be." For a moment, neither of us spoke. The clock ticked somewhere in the distance, reminding me how long the night could stretch when you had nowhere to go and nothing left to hide behind. I pulled out my phone, pretending to scroll, but the battery icon blinked red. Great. The universe really wanted me to face this. Ethan sat down across from me, folding his arms on the table. His eyes softened, and it was almost worse than his sharp grin. "I never wanted it to end like that," he said. I froze. "Don't start." "Why not?" His voice rose, then steadied. "We've got hours in this place. No one's coming until morning. What are we going to does it here and pretend we're strangers?" I wished I could tell him yes, that it would be easier that way. But the truth was, pretending had never worked with Ethan. He saw through me, always had. And it scared me how quickly I could fall back into that old rhythm. How my chest still reacted like it belonged to him. I leaned back, forcing distance. Some things are better left in the past. He studied me, like he was weighing whether to push or let me slip away again. And then, to my surprise, he smiled, gentle, but stubborn. "You always said that when you were scared." I wanted to snap back, deny it, but the words stuck in my throat. He was right, and he knew it. The library felt suffocating. Rows of books towered around us, silent witnesses to the unraveling of whatever walls I had built. I stood, pacing between aisles, pretending to browse. My fingers brushed spines of novels, though I wasn't reading titles. I just needed to move, to keep from drowning in the weight of his gaze. But Ethan followed. Not too close. Not enough to corner me, but close enough that I felt the heat of his presence. "Do you remember the night we almost got caught sneaking into the football field?" he asked suddenly, his voice softer now. I stopped. The memory hit me hard. The way the grass was damp beneath us. The thrill of breaking rules. The sound of our laughter echoing under the bleachers. And then the moment. His hand brushing mine. My heart slamming against my ribs. His face inches from mine before I pulled away, terrified of what it might mean. I forced a dry laugh. "You mean the night you almost broke your leg climbing the fence?" "Yeah," he said, smiling faintly. Then his voice dropped. "And the night I almost kissed you." My throat closed. I turned sharply, glaring at him. "Don't." But Ethan didn't flinch. He stepped closer, his voice steady. "Why not? You know it's true." The silence that followed was unbearable. My heart hammered so loudly I was sure he could hear it. I opened my mouth, then shut it again. Because the truth was, I did remember. I remembered it every single night after, no matter how hard I tried to bury it. Ethan's eyes searched mine, his voice barely above a whisper. "I wanted to tell you then, but you were scared, and I didn't want to lose you." Something hot stung my eyes. I turned away, pressing my hand against the bookshelf as if it could steady me. "You did lose me." For a long moment, he was quiet. Then, softly, "Yeah, and it's been killing me ever since." Couldn't breathe. My chest ached with all the words I'd never said, with everything I had buried just to survive. And now, trapped in a silent library at midnight, it was all clawing its way back to the surface. I wanted to hate him. I wanted to tell him he had no right to drag the past into this locked-in night. But when I finally turned, his eyes weren't mocking or cruel. They were raw, full of something I hadn't let myself believe in years. Love. And God help me, I wasn't sure I could keep pretending I didn't feel it too. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at him as if the years between us hadn't existed. As if time had folded back on itself and brought me face to face with the boy I had once trusted with my whole heart. My chest felt raw, scraped open, and there was nowhere to run, not this time. Ethan exhaled, his breath shaky. "You think I didn't notice? All those years. The way you looked at me like you wanted to say something but never did. I wanted to wait for you, but then I realized maybe you'd never be ready. And so I kept it inside. I've been keeping it inside all this time." I swallowed hard. The room tilted around me, rows of books blurring in my vision. "You don't get to just say that now. Not after all this time. Not after everything that happened." His jaw tightened. "Then when? When we're old and bitter and pretending we never mattered to each other. When it's too late to be honest." The raw edge in his voice gutted me. And then silence fell again, heavy and suffocating, broken only by the hum of the air vents and the distant tick of the clock on the wall. I turned away, but he reached out and touched my arm. Gentle, hesitant, as though he wasn't sure I'd let him. My body froze at the contact. After so many years of distance, that small brush of skin burned like fire. "Don't," I whispered, but I didn't pull back. He stepped closer. "I can't keep pretending anymore. I loved you then. I love you now." The words shattered something inside me. My knees felt weak, and I sank onto the carpeted floor between two tall shelves. I pressed my palms against my face, but it did nothing to hold back the flood. All those years of silence, of swallowing down what I felt, of building walls around something I thought I'd buried, now it came rushing out. Ethan knelt in front of me, his denim jacket brushing against my knees. "Say something," he begged softly. I lifted my head. "I stinging. You hurt me. Do you even know how much?" His expression cracked. "I know, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. But you hurt me too when you shut me out. When you pretended like none of it mattered. I thought I lost you for good." We stared at each other, broken pieces scattered between us. And then slowly, carefully, I let out the truth I'd been choking on for years. "I never stopped loving you." The air left his lungs in a rush. His hand trembled as he reached for mine, and this time I didn't stop him. His fingers laced with mine. Warm, steady, like an anchor I hadn't realized I'd been searching for all along. For a long while, neither of us spoke. We just sat there, leaning into the silence that wasn't silence anymore but something fragile and alive, pulsing between us. The night stretched on. At some point, exhaustion tugged at me, and I leaned against the bookshelf. Ethan moved closer until his shoulder brushed mine. The warmth of him seeped into me, chasing away the cold edges I'd carried for years. We talked in fragments, whispers, about the stupid fight that ended us, about the loneliness we both carried, about the fear, always the fear that the world wouldn't understand, that maybe we wouldn't even understand ourselves. But in that library, locked away from the rest of the world, it didn't matter anymore. The universe had cornered us, forced us to face the ghosts, and for the first time, I didn't want to run. When the first pale light of dawn spilled through the tall windows, I realized I'd been resting against Ethan's chest. His arm was still wrapped around me, careful and protective. My heartbeat steadied in rhythm with his, and the world outside felt distant, irrelevant. The fire alarm had long since stopped. Soon the staff would return. The doors would unlock, and life would move forward. But for now, we were suspended in something timeless, two boys who had lost each other and found their way back. I tilted my head, meeting his gaze. His eyes were rimmed red from lack of sleep, but they were brighter than I'd ever seen them. "What happens when we walk out of here?" I asked quietly. Ethan smiled, small but certain. "We stop pretending. We start over. Whatever it takes." A nervous laugh slipped out of me. "You make it sound easy." He squeezed my hand. "It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. You're worth it." The words lodged in my chest, heavy and healing all at once. And before I could overthink, before the fear could return, I leaned forward and closed the space between us. The kiss was soft, tentative, but it carried years of silence, of longing, of every almost moment we had let slip away. His hand cupped my cheek, steadying me as though he'd been waiting his whole life for this. When we pulled back, both of us breathless, the world seemed brighter. The weight that had haunted me for years was gone, replaced by something fragile but fierce. Hope. The library doors finally clicked open in the distance, echoing through the empty halls. Morning had come. Reality was waiting. But for the first time in a long time, I wasn't afraid of it. Ethan stood and held out his hand to me. I took it without hesitation. As we walked toward the exit, the golden light washing over us, I realized something simple, something I should have known all along. Sometimes love doesn't vanish just because you bury it. Sometimes it waits quietly, stubbornly until the right night, the right silence, the right locked door, gives it a chance to finally be heard. And for us, that night had been now. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.